What is going on, everybody? In this video, we are going to get Minio up and running in Docker on a Raspberry Pi 3. Let's jump right in. So, there are some other videos in this playlist. If you go back, how to set up your Raspberry Pi 3, get Docker Compose installed, and mount an external SSD drive. If you'd like to, not necessary at all. But I have the Raspberry Pi 3 running here, and I can get to it, in theory, with SSH, my username, and then I'll just use the MDNS name I gave it, Pi 3. Alright, and here we are, and we can ls, I still have the install Docker script out there. I've got the data directory, and if we look inside there, there's nothing there, and that's actually a symbolic link to my external SSD, which is mounted at MNT HD data, and that has 2 terabytes on it. Okay, all that out of the way. If we just go ahead and actually, I'm going to open up Firefox because I don't usually use that, so it's usually pretty clean, although I was working on something yesterday. But let's just go ahead and look for Minio Docker. And we're going to run into an issue here, but we'll troubleshoot that in just a moment. So you can see here is the straightforward Docker run command. If you run this on a Raspberry Pi 4, it'll run just fine. I'll just paste this in. The one thing we need to change would be here. We actually want this to be tilde should work, but I'm actually just going to do /, meaning this current directory that I'm in. And I think we're going to get an error that's saying there's no ARM version 7. What's that saying is it went out to Docker Hub, looked for an image for Minio to run on ARM, which is the architecture that the processor in the Raspberry Pi uses, and it does not have one labeled with V7. And I'm not sure if that's just because they haven't updated it yet, but we can't run it like that. So what we can do is do a little poking around, which is what I did a week or two back. And if we just go to Minio GitHub, we can go ahead here and we can see they do have a Docker file, which is most likely very similar to the image we were trying to pull from Docker Hub. But that's not going to work for us because if you look here, we need to copy a binary. And let me make this a little bigger. So they've got a base image here, and then they're just copying the executable for Minio in, and then it's got a script here, Docker scripts. If we go back, we can look, Docker scripts. Okay, it's copying that. So let's see. If we control F here, we can just look for releases. Is my control F going to work? Oh, it's down here in Firefox. All right, releases. That's not what we're looking for. Okay, here we go. Oh, release is what I should have looked for. But if you're doing the binary download, it is saying it has an executable for Darwin. So the AMD 64, I guess, on the Darwin distro. But you know what? They probably have more releases there. So we can just go ahead and copy that. And we see what they've got. Well, look, there's ARM. There's ARM 64, which would be your Raspberry Pi 4 and 5. We are on a Raspberry Pi 3, specifically for this walkthrough. So that would be this ARM here. So you know what? I could actually just copy that link address. And then if we go back here, okay, it's just going to do a wget. I can switch back to the Raspberry Pi here and just do a wget, Control-Shift-V, and we can pull that down. Now it looks like that is taking a bit of time. Could be my internet connection, could be the Pi itself. But while that's running, what we could also do and we'll just do another SSH session here while that's running. And let's see, we're going to nano, let's do entry point.sh like they showed on the GitHub here. And we just need to copy that. Sorry for the meowing in the background. That would be Bella. Okay, so none of this really looks like it's dependent on a platform or really dependent on anything that we would need to change or configure. I don't understand what's going on here, but I'm just going to give it a shot. So over here, I'm just going to paste all that in. In Nano, it's Control X, save modified buffer Y, and enter. I'm going to make sure I name that entry point.sh, Docker entry point.sh. So need to rename that. And in Linux, it's going to be move. Move and rename kind of work the same. So you're just moving the file to a different file with a different name. And if we ls, I know we will need to make that an executable, so I'll just go ahead and do that. And just because it's an sh script, I know that that is going to run, and for it to run, I do need to make an executable. chmod plus x accomplishes that. All right, and I'm surprised. Oh, because I'm in data. Okay, I just need to move that up one directory. So I'm going to move minio. Where do I want to move it? I want to move it up one directory, 2 dots slash dot, meaning up one directory, and put it right there. And I guess I want sudo. Maybe because I'm in the mounted directory. CD take me back to my home directory. And that is a little odd. Let me cd minus. Oh, you know what? Because it's a symbolic link, it probably put that in the mount directory, which is why it was asking for sudo. Oh, guess I've never run into that before. There we go. All right, so I'm going to move minio. Where am I going to move it? Little squiggly line is my home directory, and then forgot the sudo again. All right. And I see it's green there, which means it is an executable. I could also chmod plus x if I do not see that. You know what? I am going to chmod, and I'm just going to make that 777. I'm not sure if by downloading it where I did, if that did something weird to the permissions, but something odd's going on. I'm going to ls. Let me see the full permissions on that. Read, write, execute, root. Let's see, I think it's chown. Let me double check how to do that. Because I want to make my user the owner of that file. Take ownership of file. I think it's just my username, the file name, but I just want to be sure. Okay. Yeah, that should work. chown, in this case Gary. I could have also done a $user, and I'll just do that to show it. Okay, so that seems to have shaken out some of those errors. Now at this point, what we could do is, if we go back to the docs here, it shows you how to run the binary. Let's see if we scroll down here. It looks like we would just need to maybe change that to ./data so that it's using that mounted directory to save files, folders, all that good stuff. But you know what? Let's go ahead and try to remake this Docker file. And it shouldn't be too difficult. In fact, we could probably copy this whole thing. And yeah, so let's just nano Docker file. So it does have the /data here. We could change that to ./data, but I think that's going to get overwritten with the Docker run command. So let's see, we're taking minio, and then we're just copying the entry point script over. We're running that in the entry point. We've got the volume, and then the command is minio. Because minio does not have an ARM version 7 image, you know what? I'm guessing they just gutted out a Linux image and took out a bunch of stuff that they didn't need. So I'm just going to do Ubuntu, which is probably way more bloat than we need, a lot more stuff, but I think it's just safer to do that. And the way you build a Docker image, and so it's local, would be docker build -t is the tag. I'm going to call this my minio. Where is this Docker file that I want to build my image out of? It is dot, meaning here in this directory, if I actually put it in the right directory for once. Let's see. How did I mess up the build command? So the -t, does that come after the dot? Docker build. Let's see. Looking for an example with the tag here. -t is tag. Okay, so it looks like maybe the tag needs to come after. We'll try that real quick. So we can just switch that around like that. Really not sure what's going on there. It's been a while since I built a Docker image, so maybe they changed it, or maybe I just can't remember it. Docker build, not working. I just want to hopefully pop over yeah, to Stack Overflow. Just looking for Docker build. It's not there. You know what, I'm just going to Docker build dot and see if it gives me anything in the output here. Entry point, copy scripts. Oh, it wants it in Docker scripts. So it is looking in a directory called Docker scripts for the entry point.sh. We can change that real quick. So nano Docker file And then we're just going to do that. And we'll kick off the build. And while we're doing that, I'm going to flip over and see tag Docker build. Maybe it wanted the colon or the slash in there. To me, this looks like I had it right the first time. So Docker build -t and then the tag. You know what? I could probably do that here. Docker build -t test my Minio. Okay. Oops, that was insert. Okay, so it does want... I am all kinds of confused right now. Let me scroll back up. You know what? I am... Oh! I am so leaving this in the recording. So I put built instead of build. Read the well, it did say the T flag, but I guess pay attention to your typing. Something I guess I need to do a lot more of. Okay, let me make sure I've got that my Minio. It should just finish in 1 second, saying, hey, you already got this. All right. So from here, let's head back to the GitHub and actually not the GitHub. We want the Docker run command is what we're looking for. So for that, head back over here, grab all of this, and we'll need to make a few modifications. I'm going to Control L just to give myself a little bit more space. That didn't work. Control Shift V. No. I swear I copied it. Copy. Okay. So the things we need to change here is this is the image it is going to try to pull. We tagged ours with Minio, my Minio. So it should be able to find that locally. We can leave those the same. And this is going to be ./data. Yeah, let's give it a shot. And okay, that's all well and good. Let's switch back over here and let's try, well, actually, let's just try it here. So I should be able to just do Pi3, and I think the port is 9000. All right. So we got that running. And short-term memory. Root name, change me 123. Okay. All right, and so we do have Minio up and running in a Docker container on the Raspberry Pi 3. And let me see if I still have the Visual Studio Code. I did have a demo script here. Yeah, let me open this. Okay. So this script, I'll make that a little bigger. And you can just Google for this script, Minio Python. Again with the spelling today. All right. So the quick start guide, I already have Minio, the Python package installed, so I don't need to reinstall that. And then I just use this script. I changed the server it's going against. In my case, it is going against the Raspberry Pi 3 and not play.min.io. We do need an access key and a secret key, so to do that, we just need to go down to access keys, second one down. We're just going to do create an access key. We'll copy that over. And the secret key, which will be generated when we create the key. So create. There we go. And then we just need to do that and change that to 3. And if we just want to look through here real quick, I have a test file here. Hello from your local PC. Don't need that. And then it's going to go. It's going to say, hey, here's a bucket name. The destination file is going to be called this. Notice the name is different than the file on our local system. Scroll down a little bit more. It's going to say, hey, if this bucket exists, the bucket name, it's going to save that in a variable called found. If it gets to this point and there's nothing in it, it is not found. The bucket wasn't there, it's going to create it. If it is there, it's going to say it already exists, and then it's just going to take our file and upload it. All that being said, Control S, make sure it's saved. We see the X up here, yes. We'll switch back here, and we'll go to buckets just to show that that is empty. And let's just run the darn thing. That was really quick. Let's see what we got. All right, we do have a Python test bucket created. And I always forget here. Can't get to it from there. Oh, object browser, the first option. And there is our file. We can go ahead and download that. And hello from your local PC. All right, so just a few quick things, some cleanup before we go. Obviously, if you want to go ahead and shut that down, you can just Control C. And that'll bring down the Docker container. So you know what? That was what was feeding this web page. If you do want to run this again, just make sure Docker ps-a, because it does name the container, you're going to run into some issues. You can clean that up with Docker container prune, which is, if you spell container right, is going to get rid of that container, so then you can run the Docker run command again. If you want to start fresh completely from scratch, you will need to go into the data directory. You can delete your bucket there. You could do it through the GUI as well, but also there are hidden files, ls-lah in Linux, and you will need to delete .minio.sys as well to have a truly clean slate on this. Yeah, hopefully some of you out there found this helpful. Even though they didn't really advertise that they have a 32-bit ARM Minio version, it is out there, and if you look, it's pretty darn recent. Let's see. It is March 11th right now. Oh, heck. I know where it's at. It's down here. Grab that. My copy is not cooperating today. There we go. Let's see. Okay, so this was just yesterday. It looks like they pushed these yesterday. So yeah, it is a recent build. Again, I haven't extensively tested this, so that Minio base image that they built the Docker file off of might have a few tweaks and nuances that I didn't run into. But yeah, if you have the Pi3, this is a great project. Found it pretty fun, and hopefully you did as well. And I will see you in another video.